We all have stuff in our lives that comes up all the time, and it might just ruin your day or mess up your perfect plans that you had. And we all have two ways that we can react to the situation at hand, and it could be positive or negative. Those are truly the only two ways.
You are now tuning in to the Roughnecks podcast with your host, Cole Nixon. Much love.
One last thing before we get into today's episode. A lot of people ask how they can support the podcast. Well, I have a couple easy ways. The first way is just listen and subscribe. And another thing you can do is go follow the Roughnecks podcast on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube as well. If you get something out of today's show, then do me a favor. Share it with a friend. If you really want to go above and beyond to support the podcast, then head over to roughneckspodcast.com and get you some of that merch. I appreciate all of the support, but let's get into today's episode. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Roughnecks podcast. Yes, I actually got an episode out on time. It's been a long minute. It's been since Sierra's episode, and before that, I couldn't tell you when the last time that I got an episode out on time was, but episodes are out on time, and this is episode 124. And this makes it Fast Friday number 16. Can't believe we're 16 Fast Fridays in. It's been a minute since we've truly done a Fast Friday, I feel like. So, but you guys know how Fast Friday, my loyal listeners know how Fast Fridays start. It starts with announcements, and then after that, we'll go into something a little motivational to get your weekend started. These episodes come out at 3 p.m. on Friday afternoon. We will have hopefully another episode on Monday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern time. But announcements. As I said in Sunday's episode, Speedy Sunday, episode 123, if you want to go listen. It's a quick episode if you want to just kind of get a little bit more of a rundown of the things that I'm going to talk about. But we are doing a little giveaway right now. We're doing a giveaway for if you ask questions for Q&A Friday number 7, or Q&A Friday in general, until the next episode comes out, pretty much is when this giveaway runs to. But if you send in a question to roughneckspodcast@gmail.com, you're automatically entered into a giveaway, and every different question that you ask is another entry. So send those questions over to roughneckspodcast@gmail.com. For those of you who do not know what Q&A Friday is where me and a guest will sit and answer your questions. These questions can be about literally anything and everything. I don't care if it's what is your favorite color. I don't care if it's a really super deep, dark, personal question. If you want to be anonymous, just tell me, hey, I want to be anonymous, or please leave your name. I like if you leave your name for Q&A Friday. It makes it, if you want your name on there at least, but it makes it a little more like I'm actually speaking to you. That's kind of how I want it to go. But if you send in those questions before Q&A Friday number 7 comes out, roughly, probably because we're on episode 124, Q&A Friday is 130. So if you send it in before the end of before the 23rd, you'll be in the clear. So send it in before the 23rd and you are in the clear. So we got about another week left. So if you send in questions this week, you're automatically entered into the giveaway. Who knows? You might be the only one who entered a question, so you automatically win the giveaway. But I got a cool prize for that as well. I don't know if I'm going to tell you what it is, but I got a cool prize for that. What else? We got design contest also going on until the end of the month. The Friday, October 28th is the end of the design contest. What the design contest is, I want to see your unique designs. If you have a cool design for the podcast, that would be I want to make merch with it. I want to make a shirt with it that'll come out in the fall drop, which I'll get to in a minute. But I want to make a shirt with it, maybe a sweatshirt, whatever, a hat. I don't care. If you have a cool design or something unique or something different, and it incorporates the podcast, you don't have to use the bull or exactly the word Roughnecks. Like if you can come up with something cool that relates to the podcast and send that over to info at roughneckspodcast.com. Email that there and get those in before October 28th and October 31st. I will announce the winner. I may give a little merch or something too as well to them, and I will also donate all the proceeds from that shirt, whatever that design, whatever the design goes, whatever product the design goes on. I will give all of the proceeds to that shirt to a charity. But last thing, merch drop. Talked about it. Yes, it is happening. It is 100% happening. I sat down and figured a lot of it out. I'm not going to announce the date yet, but it will be in November. So we have a fall merch drop, Roughnecks 2022 fall merch drop coming in November. I got some cool items. I got some different items that I don't feel like you guys are expecting, but I got those items ready to come out for you guys on November. But fall merch drop, November 2022. And it will probably be the last merch drop of 2022. So you better get your stuff like now. I mean, you got to get your dad needs a Christmas sweatshirt and he needs the Roughnecks hoodie. So like you got to go get you some Roughnecks merch. Today, I told you guys the last episode, or Speedy Sunday, I believe, that, Fast Fridays are something that kind of just relates to me. It's what's going on in my life, and like kind of the things that I talk about are the things that I've been thinking about a lot. And, I kind of came into today's episode because I'm recording this the night before. And honestly, I was going to record it earlier in the week, but I was like, man, I still don't know exactly what I want to talk about. And I couldn't figure out what I wanted to talk about. And then I remembered, hey, you wrote down something the other day in your journal. I journal pretty often, fairly often, and I wrote something down. It was actually just Wednesday. And it was talking about how, like, every day is a new day. You can't fix what happened yesterday. This is actually the exact journal entry, which I don't usually open my journal up to anybody else, but every day is a new day. You can't fix what happened yesterday or change what happened a week ago. You can't live life in the rear view. You have to keep putting one foot in front of the other and take every day as an opportunity to grow. Every day is a blessing, so treat it like that. And it just got me thinking, like, we all have stuff in our lives that comes up all the time, and it might just ruin your day or mess up your perfect plans that you had. And we all have two ways that we can react to the situation at hand, and it could be positive or negative. Those are truly the only two ways. I mean, you could have a combination of both, but like either way, there's only two ways to react. And just for example, like today, even for me, I play sand volleyball, which is getting really cold for sand volleyball. That sand, my feet are numb by the end of that. Luckily, there is only one more week left. But also, shout out Newark Station. You'll hear more about that in the future. I got off work late, and I was an hour late, so I missed the whole first game. We play at 6 and 7. I didn't get home until probably 6:45, 6:50 by the time I changed, and I got there just in time. They were finishing up the third set of the first game, and so I missed the whole first game. And I hate missing because it's fun to play there. So I hate missing. I hate being even 5 minutes late. It drives me nuts. But that happened, and then we get home and we started trying to leave the dog out a little bit out of his crate while we're gone, and well, he's been pretty good. Pretty good is me saying that he's made a few mistakes, but nothing crazy until today, where he chewed a little hole in the corner of the couch, the $2,000 couch that he decided to chew a little hole in. Now, it is something that is potentially fixable. It's not like it's, he tore a freaking hole in the cushion, but it definitely sucks knowing he chewed a hole in the couch.
And, I could freak out and I can get pissed off. I could smack him, smack his butt. I don't mean beat him for anybody listening that wants to, twist my words, but, I could freak out and just, get all pissed off and yell and scream and freak out. Which, if you ask Sierra, I may have done a little bit, so sorry about that one, babe. But, once I finally walked outside and took that little guy for a walk, I kind of realized, like, everything's going to be okay. This current moment sucks. But if you sit there and you sulk on that moment for a long time, you're going to get nowhere. You are going to get absolutely nowhere. I'm not saying move on and forget about the whole situation like it never happened. I'm saying you deal with the situation, but you realize, you know what? It's the situation at hand, and we move on. You just gotta not move on or not forget. When I say move on, I don't mean forget. That is the big thing that I think a lot of people struggle with. They're like, oh, you know what? Let's just move on from it. When move on does not mean forget. I don't just push it under the rug and act like it never happened. For me, move on means, you know what? We got to move on with our day. We'll figure it out. It's going to be okay. It sucks in the moment, but everything will be okay. It's the whole thing with the whole grab the bull by the horns. Life is hard and it's going to knock you down just like a bull does to a bull rider. You got to get up and grab the bull by the horns and take control of your life. We are the bull rider. The bull is life. You have two options if you get knocked down. It's going to knock you down. Bull riders always get knocked down every single time, right? So if you get knocked down, you have two options. You can lay there, which is the negative reaction, and let that bull of life just trample all over you and let your life own you. Let all the negative circumstances own you. Or you can get up and grab the bull by the horns, which is the positive reaction. One of the biggest things we need to learn is how to control that reaction, because we can't control the circumstance, but we can always control our reaction. We have to be able to grab that reaction by the horns and take control of it and not let that circumstance or life control you. We control the bull doesn't control us. It's not something that's easy to do. I used to be absolutely terrible at it. Still not saying I'm great at it. But I've came a long way because it's something that I've worked at, and it's something that you do have to work at. You have to be able to see what your weaknesses are. You don't hide them. Bring them to light and work at being a better person, being a better you. Things aren't always going to go our way, but we just have to keep working. Keep working. You're not getting what you want? Keep working. You are getting what you want? Keep working. You are not going to get your way most of the time in life, and that is the cold, hard truth. You just have to keep working. Hard work does pay off, but no one's going to tell you when it's going to happen. And if you sit here and overthink that, you're doing it wrong. That's the negative reaction. Overthinking is overrated. Don't overthink when it's your turn, or if you're doing it enough. And if you have to ask yourself that question, then it's probably a no. Should just keep working, because life is not all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care who you are. It will keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to put in the work, and you can't point fingers saying you're not where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. I hope you guys just got my little reference there. And if you got it, shoot me a message over on Instagram or email or whatever. I want to see who's listening, who got the message. But that's the truth. That's all I got for you guys today. It may be the weekend, but you still got to get after it. See you guys on Monday. Life is hard. It's going to knock you down just like a bull does to a bull rider. Don't let the bull of life walk all over you. Get up, grab the bull by the horns and take control of your life. Give yourself that positive reaction. Roughnecks out.
Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. If you like today's episode, then be sure to subscribe, rate, and review, and share it with a friend if you got some value from it. Head over to social media and follow the Roughnecks Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe to that YouTube channel. Don't forget to get you some of that merch by heading over to roughneckspodcast.com and subscribe to the newsletter while you're there. See y'all next week. Roughnecks out.